Wow, popular sensation murders mother after shooting her 5 times in front of her grandmother. Let's see what this is about. Pray for the family.
I gotta think of a way to get this money by tomorrow. Huh? I gotta think of a way to get. Huh? I gotta think of a way to get this money by tomorrow.
I'm trying to see how I can get your daddy to pick you up by tomorrow. Huh? I'm trying to see how I can get your I'm trying to see how I can get your daddy to pick you up by tomorrow. Hell, I'm trying to do hot girl shit.
They look why like I don't get those whole dynamics where like a little child be acting grown with her mama because then her mama gonna be like, well, you think you grown. Parents, if your child acts like they grown, that's your fault for like not creating a space for them to be comfortable and being a child. Like you enabling it with stuff like this.
I look 12.
Mommy, but you aren't 12.
But I look 12. This ain't cute to be looking 12 at my age. That's the point. Yeah, I just had to take.
Like her mom looks like somebody who like no offense, but her mom looks like somebody who like try to be out in them streets and act younger than she is when she know like she need to hang up the jersey.
The in my life, my stomach was.
Grown ass woman. Like she's too old to be doing. I mean, you too young to be doing stuff like that. See, like this is the mom's fault. Whatever happened, it's the mom's fault for not checking and not giving her child the space to be a child. And you know what I'm saying. But that's because her mom appears to be. If you look, her mom appears to be a child herself too. So kids raising kids.
Was questioning like why would you do this to your own mama? I just can't believe she's gone, for real.
When you got the news,
I was devastated. Didn't want to believe it. Would do anything for her kids. She was very spiritual, very
We all know girls who are spiritual, who just go with the vibes and who don't believe in traditional. Yeah.
into God. Changed her life around for God. I just want to know what really, like, what caused for that to get to this point, to where you had to take your own mama's life.
The family is processing this loss, including other 4 children who are now without a big sister and a mom.
If a child is troubled, then a child is troubled. You can only help them so much. I was so mad at first, but as I got to talking to people and actually just thinking about what might have really happened, or mental health is real. It's gonna take me a lifetime to get over this.
Black girl on Lost. Shout out to Black girl on Lost. Make sure I drop a like.
Shortly before 8 p.m. on September 11th, officers with the Galveston Police Department responded to a residence in the 5100 block of Avenue Q following reports of a shooting. Upon arrival, they discovered an unresponsive adult female who had sustained multiple gunshot wounds.
Tragedy unfolding in a neighborhood in Galveston. Police say a 16-year-old is accused of shooting and killing her own mother. And now investigators are trying to figure out why. The shooting happened just before 8 o'clock last night at a home on Avenue Q near 52nd Street.
The victim was later identified as 34-year-old Tiamoya Moore, who was rushed to the University of Texas Medical Branch emergency room. Despite the efforts of medical personnel, she was sadly pronounced dead shortly after arrival, having succumbed to her injuries. Authorities also recovered a firearm at the scene. In a devastating twist, neighbors immediately identified the suspected shooter as Tiamoya's own 16-year-old daughter.
Look, she thinks she's grown.
Sorry to interrupt.
Bro, regardless of what happened, bro, like you gotta like keep. It's not the child's fault that the child is like that. You know what I'm saying? It's not the child's fault. It's on the parents to coach and keep your kids in a space where you don't condescend them and make them like. Sometimes parents they be like, "You're a child," and it's like, Like they like what's the word? They're very condescending, so children don't want to live. Regardless of whatever the reason is, again, it goes back to your style of parenting and how you can work with your kids to create an effective space for them to feel comfortable in being who they are. And she's a child, so she should feel comfortable in that. But obviously, she thinks she needs to be older, whether that's because of school or whether that's because her mom acts young, and she thinks like, ma'am, mm mm mm. Bro. I mean, I guess that's kind of normal for 16-year-olds, but
Due to her being shot 5 times, allegedly in the presence of her own mother, the teen's grandmother, who, according to unconfirmed reports, did not intervene in the moments leading up to the incident. As investigators processed the scene, the teen reportedly returned to the home and was taken into custody without resistance. She is currently being held at the Jerry J. Esmond Juvenile Justice Center. One neighbor, who had been outside checking her mail, told reporters she overheard an argument coming from the home shortly before the sound of gunshots rang out. She said she was unaware of any prior domestic issues within the family, making the event all the more shocking and tragic. Visible bullet holes were seen along the exterior of the home where the shooting occurred, as well as on nearby structures, illustrating the intensity of the violence. In a brief phone conversation with the press, Tiamoya's mother, who was reportedly inside the home at the time, expressed shock and heartbreak over what had happened. She shared that she heard the gunshots, but had no idea her granddaughter was capable of such an act. Fighting back tears, she described Tiamoya as a loving and devoted mother. Now she is left grappling with the painful question: why would her granddaughter commit such a horrific act? While the motive remains unclear, experts have emphasized the importance of open communication and de-escalation strategies within families to help prevent tragedies like this one. One professional noted, keep talking to your kids, even when they shut you out.
Your kids shouldn't shut you out, though, too. That's the thing. I wholeheartedly feel, one, bro, as a parent, okay, your child is of you. So your child comes directly from you. I think as a parent, you should, granted, I've never been a parent, so, it's easier said than done. At least I feel like with me, just speaking forward how I'm going to move forward. I think the best thing you can do for your child is, one, get yourself right. Like, figure out all your traumas. Because obviously, this is just a sign of unchecked trauma. Like, this is her trying to be younger than she is. This is her not wanting to give up you for whatever reason, right? I think your best thing you can do is get yourself straight first. Figure out what your traumas are, what's your insecurities, stuff like that. And not even necessarily fix those things, but just soften them, because all those things harden us up, make us closed off. They make us move in ways out of fear rather than confidence and security and assurance, right? So I think it's figuring out everything about yourself so that way, whenever the child does come, that doesn't leak over into the child. Because if you're insecure, if you always want to be young grown, but you don't want to grow up, but you still want to feel young enough to go out and have fun and stuff like this, that same insecurity and hardness is going to leak over to your child, as we see right here. It's going to leak right over. So it's better to fix those things before, because like, it's like, for instance, you can tell a child don't smoke, but if you're smoking all the time and drinking around a child, they're going to end up drinking. You can tell a child don't let him, you can tell a girl don't let a woman beat on you, but if your daughter sees men just beating on you, she's probably end up going to get beaten on too. So I think it comes to like leading by example. You know what I'm saying? And stuff like this isn't on the child's fault, because again, the child is following in your footsteps. You lead the way at the end of the day. So even if a child is disrespectful, rude, even if a child doesn't listen, a child thinks they're grown or too young or childish, that's your fault, because they only are putting out what you poured into them at the end of the day, in my opinion. So I think this is on the mother. You know, it kind of like it's a tragic situation, no doubt, but I just think you kind of sow what you reap, and you could have checked this a little earlier, but it looks like she didn't at all.
Just keep trying. Consistent communication can make a difference. In the wake of the incident, many have taken to social media to express shock, speculate on the circumstances, and try to make sense of the senseless. Some users claim the teen may have been under the influence of drugs.
Look, like they stand and dress the exact same way. What the hell?
At the time of the
Why are you at 34 dressing the same way and standing the exact same way your 16-year-old daughter would stand in a photo or a dress going out at 34 and you have a child? But now I'm thinking about it too. If she's 34 and her daughter's 16, that means she had her daughter when she was 18. So she low-key grew up with, and 34 is not even old by any means. I'm not saying that's older. You just have to start being an accountant. But like, I would think at 34, you would just be a little bit more like, I don't know. But hey, to each their own. But that, yeah, low-key, that it seems like she grew up with her daughter, I guess, in a way too. Since she's had her daughter at 18, by the time she was 10, she was 28. 6 years later, when she's 16, yeah.
shooting, which they believe could have contributed to the violent outburst. Others pointed to a possible breakdown in boundaries, suggesting that Tia Moya may have tried too hard to be a friend rather than a parent, which may have complicated their relationship.
For sure.
Social media users were quick to identify the teen as Naini, a young girl who gained viral attention years ago in a popular Tommy the Clown dance battle video.
You better be ready because I'm coming forward with that fire.
Why are you not investing?
Hey. And see, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not even her fault. Because look, one day is cute, which that's crazy. She's dancing like that at whatever age is. But look, one day is cute. It's cute. And oh my God, it's so funny. That's my little friend. The next day is disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't want to see this, but for sure.
Her TikTok account has resurfaced, sparking further controversy. In one provocative post where she sings about her body, Tia Moya publicly commented, "Delete this." To which the teen replied, "No, Mom, it's cute." The exchange suggests ongoing tension between mother and daughter about appropriate behavior and self-image. Some commenters claim the teen may also be pregnant based on recent social media.
See, it's like, you gotta lead by example, bro. You can't, she's talking about delete this, but then you go over to her page. Where's it at? She's talking about delete this, but then whenever you go over to this lady's page, all you see is cakes and, man, I can't even find it, man. But my point is, though, life goes in cycles. If you don't actively make a change to be bigger than your circumstances and what you're accustomed to, and you just go through autopilot and let life happen, you will be the same as the people before. You will be the same as the people that you grew up around. You're the sum of your environment. So it's like, you see how she's telling her to delete this, but like she's doing she's telling her not to smoke cigarettes and she's smoking cigarettes. Like, you gotta lead by example for people. People are always talking like, you should do this. You should like just lead by example. Shut up and do it. If it works, people will follow. But if not, like Michael Jordan and them, they wasn't telling everybody, y'all niggas need to practice this hard. No, they was already in the gym 2 hours before practice even started, already practicing. And then everybody else saw them in the gym practicing, so that made them want to practice more. But they wasn't like, yo, y'all, I'm about to go to practice. Y'all come with me. No, they just started practicing.
Content. Others stated she had previously lived with her grandmother and had a troubled history before returning to her mother's home. The reasons behind that move remain unclear. Ultimately, the full truth of what transpired inside that home. Reasons behind that move remain unclear.
How are you're doing stuff like this and telling your daughter to take her, like, no offense, I think you're just too old to be doing stuff like this too. You're 34, like, you should be ready to start a nice fam. But see, when you're 18, probably, and you have a child, you probably are robbed of a lot of your childhood. So she's probably trying to live the lifestyle of a 16 to 22, 23-year-old girl because she never got to when she had a child. But I feel like she was doing it anyways. She just won't give it up.
Ultimately, the full truth of what transpired inside that home on September 11th remains known only to the teen herself. As the investigation continues, many are hoping she will come forward with the full story and, in time, feel genuine remorse for what has taken place.
The mother of the woman who died told me over the phone that she heard the gunshots last night and said it was a complete surprise. She's wondering why her granddaughter could have done something like this, and that's the question police and neighbors want answered too. Galveston police
Why?
descending on Avenue Q near 52nd Street last night after neighbors heard multiple gunshots. Investigators say a 34-year-old woman identified as Tia Moya Moore was found shot at a home. She was taken to the hospital where she died. According to police, witnesses told them the suspect was Moore's 16-year-old daughter. Have you noticed any previous issues at the home?
No.
That's what makes the shooting all the more surprising for neighbor Graciela Molina, who lives across the street. She says she was checking her mail last night when she heard yelling.
She was screaming. She was screaming. And I hear boom, 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 boom. Like, I hear 5.
Bullet holes visible in the walls of the home and other nearby houses. This neighbor says he was startled by the gunfire.
Yes, I was in the kitchen and I hear the shots and we come out and then all the police cars.
Galveston police say they were told the 16-year-old ran from the home after the shooting, but as they were processing the scene, she came back and was taken into custody.
This area is pretty calm. There's not really that. This street is kind of busy, but it's still calm here.
The tragic death of Tia Moya Moore at the hands of her 16-year-old daughter reveals the importance of healthy communication, clear boundaries, and early intervention in family dynamics. It further reminds us how unresolved conflict, emotional disconnect, and possible behavioral or substance-related issues can escalate into devastating outcomes when left unaddressed. Parenting is not just about love, but also structure, discipline, and emotional awareness.
But hey, listen, trying to be your child's friend is not love. That's an insecurity. That's an insecurity of not wanting to come across as a bad person, or that's a laziness of not wanting to actually discipline and give your child the right structure to eventually become their own adult. That's laziness, and that's not love, because that's either laziness or insecurity of still wanting to be young and seen as a cool person. So regardless of whatever that is, that's not love. I think love is doing whatever is best for you. That's self-love. Love for others is respecting other people and also doing what you can, whatever is best for them as well. To me, that's what love is. So what she did to me isn't love. But again, she's young too. She had her child when she was 18, pregnant at 17. It sounds like it doesn't look like the dad's in her life, because we haven't heard no interviews or nothing from no daddy or nothing like that. So it sounds like there was no dad in her life. So it sounds like she had to deal with this herself, you know? So, you know, you got to give her some grace. And she, for God's sake, she had her life took. But let this be a lesson, man. Get your own traumas and stuff like that ready before you just have sex with everybody. Before you just have, like, get that stuff in order. Because if you don't fix it and you just let it brew, that same trauma, that same, you know what I'm saying, thing from the past that you thought you could just bury down, it might show up in the next lifetime in your child. It might show up later on down the future, and it might be the very same thing that might be your demise.